After the silence of realization, something begins to stir again, softly, gently. It is not the return of thought, not the movement of mind, but the infinite beginning to breathe through creation once more. This is the dawn after enlightenment, when silence itself begins to speak again. For the mystic Joel Goldsmith, awakening was never an ending. He taught that when the words, "I am," dissolve into pure being, and even God seems still and wordless, a new phase begins, the return movement of spirit. Silence begins to sing. At first, you may think enlightenment means retreat, stillness, detachment from the world. But that is only half of the truth. In the infinite way, Joel revealed that realization eventually flows outward, as creation, as service, as love. Not because you choose to act, but because the presence acts through you. In the beginning, you practiced the presence. Now, the presence practices you. You become the expression of the stillness that once held you. When silence speaks again, it doesn't use words. It moves as kindness, patience, and effortless action. It flows as intuition, as art, as the exact word that heals someone at the right moment. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't say, "I am being divine." It simply is. Joel once said, "When you stop trying to live the spiritual life begins to live you." That is the stage of divine spontaneity, where your every breath, every gesture, every encounter becomes part of a living prayer. The infinite has found its rhythm again through you. Now, the silence begins to move in the world. It paints, it teaches, it builds, it comforts. It answers needs before they're spoken. It heals wounds without being asked. It loves without a reason. You no longer say, "I will go where God sends me." You simply find yourself already there, because there is no you apart from the divine motion. This is the final phase of realization Joel called living as Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness isn't religious. It's not about worship. It's awareness itself, waking up to the fact that it is both silence and song, both stillness and movement, both heaven and earth. Many seekers believe enlightenment ends human emotion, but Joel discovered something greater. It refines emotion until it becomes compassion. In silence, you see the pain of others not as tragedy, but as divine forgetfulness waiting to remember itself. You love them, not from pity, but from recognition, because their soul is your own presence, playing out the dream of awakening in its own timing. You begin to live from a consciousness of blessing, not asking, "What can I get?" but, "What wants to give itself through me?" And here, silence begins to move again, as inspiration, as creation, as divine play. You may notice that your daily life becomes very simple. What used to feel ordinary now glows with meaning. Washing dishes, walking, speaking, sitting, all of it becomes an act of worship without a word. Joel said, "To live spiritually is not to withdraw from the world, but to see God everywhere you look." You begin to laugh more, not the laughter of amusement, but the laughter of one who sees through illusion and finds only love behind it all. That laughter is God enjoying its own creation. In this phase, you stop measuring progress. There are no higher states to reach. There is only the infinite deepening of the same presence. Every challenge, every success, every relationship becomes another doorway for grace to move through. Life is not about achieving perfection anymore. It's about letting the divine perfection express itself naturally. The ego used to ask, "Am I doing it right?" The presence whispers, "You were never doing it." That's when real humility appears, not the humility of weakness, but of wonder. You realize that the smallest flower, the quietest child, the softest word, carry the same presence as the universe itself. Silence speaks through simplicity. It teaches without words, heals without effort, loves without condition. And when others come to you seeking guidance, you don't try to give them answers. You simply hold the space of awareness. They begin to feel the presence through you. This is the silent ministry Joel spoke of, the ability to bless without speaking, to radiate peace without teaching. And when you walk through the world like this, you realize something astonishing. The infinite has been expressing through every life, every form, all along. The silence never stopped speaking. We just weren't quiet enough to hear it. As this realization matures, the line between silence and sound disappears. Prayer and daily life become one. Meditation no longer needs to be practiced. It is living meditation. You walk, speak, create, rest, all in a seamless awareness of God. And in that moment, you realize what Joel Goldsmith meant when he said, "There is no God apart from this moment." This is not poetic language. It is literal truth. God is this breath, this seeing, this heartbeat, this stillness moving through all that is. Now you understand why the series ends here. The 6 phases of awakening were never 6 at all. They were one movement, one eternal dance of silence realizing itself. Part 1, the awakening to presence. Part 2, the stillness where thought surrenders. Part 3, the search ending in home. Part 4, life expressing as divine action. Part 5, the silence that remains. Part 6, silence speaking again. The circle is complete. But this completion is not an end. It's the beginning of conscious living. The infinite now moves freely as your life. The silence you hear now, it's not the end of the journey. It's God beginning again as you. Subscribe, share, and walk gently, because every step is the presence speaking through you.